Hi guys, in this video I'm going to share on what has happened the past few weeks and one thing that I did that really, wow, it was such a good investment and it was only $600. So my name is Haris. I'm the founder of EduGrow where I help tuition centers grow their business through system and processes. So in the past week, I don't know if you guys know, but I had quit my job. I was working as the head of operations in Sigma School, and I think you guys know that the main reason why I quit my job is because me and my ex-founder employer, we discussed about it, and essentially I want full control of the business. So essentially I quit because I was getting more miserable going through that role itself. So yeah, we ended and we are still talking and we are still good friends as well. So now what I'm doing is EduGrow. It started 2 weeks ago, and I've been meeting with four tutors. A little bit busy. Four tutors is not a lot, but it is because I'm going to go to like their physical tuition center, learn more about their business and what problems they have. All right, so I think essentially what I've learned so far is that most of them, 3 out of 4, don't really understand the benefits of system processes, especially if they want to scale up. So back in Sigma School, when I went into their Google Drive and their Airtables, it's very messy. It wasn't very structured, and that was when I naturally just improve on it, and there was a huge benefit because when you do automations, when you have a clear way of knowing where data is, then essentially you can run a scalable business. So I mean, Derek, my ex-founder, he mentioned that business is essentially just attaining more assets. So assets are things that you can sell off. So a lot of times when I'm talking to the tutors, when I mean not when they, but essentially how they run their business is more towards like a freelance. And then if they want to scale up, then that's where I know that they will have an issue of thinking that they are the brand. But if you look at very big tuition agencies or even education business, most of the time the founders are not even part of the teaching brand itself. So that is one thing that I believe that will help them, because essentially if you want to have more students, you definitely need to hire more, and that's where tutors are very important. So I think number one is just knowing that they want to in a way be out of the brand that they've created. Okay, and number two is hiring. So hiring will always be an issue, and the thing is that I have a theory, don't know whether it's true or not, that you don't have to hire the best teachers or have a high requirement. Essentially, I'm using my past experience in terms of hiring teachers or instructors to teach for me. Essentially, in the coding bootcamp, I hire people who already know the materials, or in a way know how to essentially code. So they are software developers. So what is the closest towards having a tutor who teach math or science or English? It's like there is certain people that's very close to knowing how to learn and also teach. So for example, for a math teacher, you can hire an engineer who is actually a very vocal person. And the only thing that I think will be very important, because this is still a hypothesis, is the rates of learning. Because a lot of times, for me personally, when I were to teach a lot of topics that I'm not an expert about, like what game development, blockchain, essentially I just learn the curriculum, understand it, and then teach it, right? And essentially that's the closest that you can get in terms of someone who is very good at teaching, rate of learning, and is able to explain very difficult concepts simple to the students as well. And that is something that I think it will be a very good model or framework in terms of hiring tutors right now. And I'm always a big fan of hiring your students. So because students know exactly what is needed to be taught, it's just that now you just need to teach on how to taught in a manner that students understand. So that's two things, right? And the third thing that I learned from talking to tutors is that this math tutor, very impressive, is that why I say he is impressive is because there were a couple of investors wanting to invest in his company, but the only reason why they wanted to invest into his company is because he has a very good database of questions, answers, and content and learning materials. So that was also a good reminder that business is all about assets, and investors don't want to invest into something that they cannot uh, see. So assets, right? And essentially the math tutor declined a lot of these investors' money because he knew that if people value him that much, that means he's doing something right. And I think that's amazing because I did tell him that like his content is impressive because like I know that he cares about the quality of the content that he creates, and that's why people are coming to him in terms of investing in his in his company, which I think is amazing. So one thing that he said that most of the time this content is nothing special, it's nothing new, right? It's like obviously you need a question bank, you need someone to explain the answers, you need someone to write down the answers for every questions. So he mentioned that like maybe for one level of education, for example maybe primary 6 math, he says that he has around like for example over 400 questions, answers, video explanation, which is very impressive. And that's like for only one level. He has a couple of levels. So like he has a huge database, and a lot of time investors wants to see assets that they can invest in and then sell off as well, because in a way you can do a lot of things with content itself, right? So that's something that I think that was pretty good. And one thing that this math tutor also said to me is that all of these tutors know what to do to grow, but they just don't want to do the boring work because it is a lot of boring work. I mean, in essence, you just need to delegate the work. At the same time, sometimes you also need to go through the scary work, which he mentioned, because when you want to scale, that means you have to have a dip in terms of revenue, because it is a risk for you to open up a new tuition center because you're signing a lease, you're hiring people. But I realize is that if you don't do this kind of risk, then you won't grow. Lila Homosi mentioned that in order for her to reach her first million, she has to lose 100K. In order for her to reach to 10 million, she'll have to lose 1 million. In order for her to reach 100 million, she has to lose 10 million. And that's the fact of the nature of everything, right? So in a way, you have to take risk in order for you to get big, which I think I'm very happy to hear, because if there is no risk, everyone will be rich, right? So I think that's something that I think I really appreciate. And I think like we vibe because like we both really push for quality work, which I think it's pretty good. So I think that's why I believe he is one of the best math tutors out there, because he's like super confident that he is very good. And like rarely I hear that kind of thing. It might sound obnoxious, but I get it, because it's like I think I can teach well in terms of coding, which I think is something that I'm proud of, and it's because that I have a lot of students giving me ratings on the teaching that I do and also the content that I've created. So in essence, I think that it's like super important in terms of if you want to build an education business. So I also mentioned earlier in this video that I spent $600 on something that really was the most, I would say, best thing that I've ever done, which is essentially a business coach. So the business coach that I have with me right now, his name is Alvin. So I think it is amazing because I am able to ask him questions on, or even just bouncing ideas with him. Because like in business, especially when you're starting, you don't know what is your angle. So Alex Omozi mentioned that in your first year, like you shouldn't be chasing for sales. You should be chasing for what is working and refining that, right? Which I totally agree, because that you need to do that in order for you to see what is your product market fit, right? A lot of times, I mean, not a lot of times, but people chance upon how they're able to create the product, and then people want it more and more, which is great. But at the same time, I realized also after, going through my own, seeing other businesses, helping other businesses as well, is that like you have to get the core product like well. When I say well, what I mean by that is essentially number one, customer experience is good, meaning that you have very low to little customers complaining. And number two is that this business machine that you built so far can work without you, or yeah, essentially work without you. So that means you don't really need to do anything new. You just need to get better. That's it, right? Like essentially, if I were to create my own education business or even a tuition center, right, I honestly like wouldn't do anything new. Like number one, I won't be teaching. I'll probably hire, and then after that, and then I'll probably in a way, in order to incentivize this person has to have equity in the company, lah. And then after that, I'll just create content out of this tutor itself, because this tutor might leave, right? Because I mean, humans, we might have other inspirations or decisions to go somewhere else. So in essence, I have to build an asset out of this person who's going to teach. And then at the same time, system processes, you need to know how to, in a way, automate it or build assets out of it, so that when you want to sell the business, it's like, okay, here's everything. I can be out of the picture and it will still run. So these are things that people don't, in a way, see, or I would say tutors. Maybe I'm wrong. I only met 4. I haven't met. There's over 800 centers out there, and it's like, okay, I haven't met all of them. So, but out of the 4, it's like, I know number one is that you need system processes to build a team that can scale. If not, you'll be like struggling every single day. Number 2 is to build your content, your platform for you to host your learning material, so that you have an edge with each other, right? So I think that's something that I've learned so far, right? And I mean, going back to the business coach itself, I know it is something that helped me throughout these 2 weeks, because like I can ask him question and then he answer me back, and then I can give ideas, and he will like my first thing to do was to create a podcast to interview tutors so that I understand. But in the end, my business coach Alvin said, no need, just create an angle on how you can help and see how it goes. Essentially, you also can ask them on their business, because you, as fast as possible, want to know what's your angle to helping these tutors as well. And I was like, okay, like I will listen to you. So I stopped doing the podcast lah. So now I'm just like, okay, I'll just reach out. I haven't reached out to any more tutors, because I'm creating this MVP. This essentially, when I tell Alvin, it's like, okay, what I've realized after these 4 tutors is that they don't have a system. So why not I just create a system for them, copy and paste, and then have a trial on the hours that I'm going to give them. So essentially, like I'm going to give them this system, copy to their account, and I'll give them 5 hours in order for them to build in their own way. And if they want have if they want to work with me, then I will be selling like a monthly retainer for 10 hours of I call it a operations tech person time. So it can be me, can be anybody else, but I do care about the quality of the work that I do. So whether it's me or someone else, I will know that whatever I do is something that will help them grow their business, automate stuff as well. So that's roughly about it. Yeah. So it's in essence, like 2 weeks, I feel like has gone very fast. But at the same time, I think it's good. So now I just need to reach out to more tutors, finishing my MVP, and then after that, yeah, see how this goes, to be honest. And yeah, so that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this kind of videos, subscribe down below and comment down anything that you want to know about my week, right? So I'm recording this so that I can use this when I'm very successful. With that said, see you guys. Bye bye.